Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. Today's video will be on a killer hidden arrow Sudoku created by Christoph. Christoph has posted some wonderful Sudokus and all of his creations are on the Logic Masters Germany portal. I will add the link to his Sudokus in the description of the video. Please do check out his Sudokus and give them a try. They all have excellent and challenging solve paths. You will also find the online solving link in the description of the video. The thing about the Sudoku is that it is going to be featured in the upcoming Sudoku Grand Prix round. The Sudoku Grand Prix round occurs at World Puzzle Federation website and is a series of online rounds, and each round is authored by a different country. The upcoming round is by authors from Serbia, and this Sudoku is one of the higher pointers. And before moving on to the rules, if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet and you're regularly watching our channel, please subscribe to the channel. We'll really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. Let us go on to the rules now. So each row, column and 3 by 3 box contains the digits from 1 to 9 without any repetition, and there are killer cages inside the grid, as you can see. Cells encompassed by dotted lines, and inside these killer cages digits do not repeat and the sum of the digits is given at the top left corner of the cage. And in addition to that, there is also a hidden arrow constraint. So in each of these killer cages there must be an arrow either this way or this way, right? It should be at one end of the cage, and mind you, the arrow may also be of two sides, right? For example, the arrow may also be this way, right? It may also be 2 digit, that's what I meant to imply, in which case you will have the sum reading from left to right, and it can also be happening at the other end of the cage. So for example, it may be this way. Just a second, I just need to switch between tabs. Okay, so you may also have the arrow this way, in which case you will read the digits from bottom to top. So depending on whether the grid is aligned left to right or bottom to top, you need to write the digits, and it is up to the solver to determine whether the arrow sum is either a single digit or a double digit, right? So the important thing to remember in this Sudoku is that this was mentioned as a comment in one of the previous videos that we have made on the same variant. The important thing is that when you deduce for certain that your arrow cage is a 2-digit sum, not a single digit sum, a 2-digit sum, here in this particular case, you will see that all the cages will have a 2-digit arrow sum. So why is that the case? It's easy to determine. For example, let us say maybe take this 5-cell cage and the arrow is looking this way, maybe assume that it is this way. It doesn't matter, it may also be this way. So for the explanation, just assume that it is looking this way. You will see that the minimum sum is becoming 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and 10. You can never have a single digit arrow sum with 4 cells on it unless digits are repeating. So you will see that in all the cages digits do not repeat because they are killer cages, and you will also see that the minimum size of each of the cages is 5. So we know for certain that there will never be a single digit arrow sum in this particular Sudoku. So when that is the case, the trick is that depending on the parity of the outside clue, so let us take this killer clue for example. If the parity of the killer clue is even, so 34 is even, so you will have the tens digit of the arrow sum as either, not either, it should be 2, right? When you have the parity of the killer clue as even, the tens digit must definitely be even. There is no doubt about it. You can try something to see if they are working with odd clues. It won't happen. So for example, let us say take some maybe 16. Let us see what happens if the arrow sum is 16. Okay. So if you have the arrow sum as 16, so let me draw the arrow for better clarity. So you will have the arrow this way. Let us assume that the arrow is this way, right? So now the sum of these 4 digits will be 16, right? And then we need to add these 2 digits as well. So 16 plus 1 plus 6, which would be equal to 23, but we need 34, right? So let us go maybe one step further. Let us eliminate this cell and take a 7. So what happens, we'll see. 17 plus some of these digits, 17 plus some of these two digits, right? 17 plus 8, which is giving us 25. So you will see that when we used 16, we got a total of 23, and when we are using 17, we got a total of 25. So the sum is increasing in steps of 2 and it is landing only at odd totals. So which means that you'll never be able to reach a total of 34, which is even. So you may try with other combinations as well. You'll see that you'll never get a total of even when the tens digit is odd. So which means that when the total is parity is even, we are certain that the tens digit must be 2. So we'll do that for all the cages. So 24 is even, so tens digit is 2, 32 is even, tens digit is 2. So these are all odd, this is even. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 odd cages, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, totally 8 cages with 4 odd cages and 4 even cages. So now similarly, vice versa rule is applicable in the odd cages. Let us take this odd cage for example. When the parity of the killer clue is odd, this is the most important trick in the Sudoku. With this trick, you will be able to approach any killer hidden arrow Sudokus with considerable ease. So when you have the killer clue as odd, then our tens digit must definitely be 1. There is no doubt about it. So for example, let us try to satisfy this clue. Okay, not this clue, let us go to this clue for example, because it's 23 and little higher in value. So try to see if you can reach to this total with a 2 inside that, with the 2 as the tens digit. It's never possible. Or yeah, we can try. So 21 if you have, right, the arrow looks this way. The arrow will look this way, for example. So this would be 21, right? So this would be a 21, and some of these digits will be 21. So 21 plus 2 plus 1 would be 24, right? So we can never get to an odd total when you have 2 as the tens digit when the parity of the outside clue is odd. So to sum up, I'll sum up so that it's very clear. When the parity of the killer clue is even and you establish for sure that the arrow sum is not a single cell, single cage, then the tens digit will be even. And when you have the killer clue as odd, and when you have established that the arrow sum is not a single cell, then the tens digit will always be 1. This is the most important trick in the Sudoku. So with that, we'll just write some digits. So this is odd, right? So this will be 1 tens digit. So 17 and 23 and 23, right? So I've written a few digits inside, and once you write the tens digit, it will be easy to write the units digit as well. So look at this 34 clue. Can you reach the 34 clue with the 25 maybe? So let us, for example, assume the arrow is this way. So now 25 is going to be here, and let me draw the arrow sum. Maybe it's looking this way, right? Sorry, it should traverse along the cages, right? So the sum of these 4 digits will be 25, then 25 plus 2 plus 5, which should be equal to 32, but we need 34, right? So which means that I need to have a 6 here, right? So let us see what happens. So 26 plus 4 digits, right? 26 plus 2 plus 6, which is equal to 34. So we are getting 34 when the units digit is 6, which means that our arrow sum is 26 and the sum of the digits on the arrow must be 26. So 6 must be either here or here, and using the same idea we can fill all the cages. For 24 we will require 1, right? 21 plus 2 plus 1, that would give us 24. And for 13, should 15 work? 15 plus 1 plus 5, no, 21. So it must be 16. So for 23 we'll have 16. So we have a lot of 23 inside the cages. So this is also 23. So the reason I am replicating the digits at either end is that one of these possibilities is certainly true. We just don't know for certain which of the possibilities is true, right? Because the arrow sum may either be at this end of the cage or at this end of the cage. Both are possible. So for 24 we must have 21 plus 2 plus 1, yeah, and for 17 it must be 13 plus 1 plus 3, right? So we have done the first step and the most important step in the Sudoku. So with this, you'll be able to start any killer hidden arrow Sudokus easily. So the next step, let us move on to the solve now. So we know for certain one of these cells is a 2, right? Which means that this cell which sees both of these cells cannot be a 2. So we may remove this possibility and we get the 2 and the 1 here. So we are getting our first digit, right? Let me switch over to normal mode. Yeah, so this is a 2 and this is a 1. So because of this 2, we eliminate the 2 from here. Oh, I have not written the tens digit here. The tens digit here must be 24 plus 2 plus 4 is 30. 25 plus 2 plus 5. So this must either be a 5 or this must be a 5. And because of this 2 here, we can remove the 2 5 from here, right? So this will be my 2, this will be my 5. Do I get any more else? Anything else? Okay, so we have something interesting here, guys. Look what happens if the 2 goes here. We cannot do anything further with the 2. So let us look at top 3 rows. When you have a 2 here, right, due to classic rule, you will again get the 2 in these 3 cells, right? But we know that in killer cages, digits do not repeat. So which means that 2 cannot go inside this cell. So 2 would have to be here, which means this is a 2, this is a 2 and this is a 6. So we may remove these candidates. Superb, right? And continuing on, 6 is eliminated from here. So which means that this is 1 and this is 6. 1 is eliminated from here, which means that this is 2 and this is 1. Again 1 is eliminated from here, which means that this is 1, this is 3, and 1 is eliminated from this cell, which means that this is 1 and this is 6, and this becomes my 1 and this becomes my 6. So we may sketch in the arrow sum now, right? So this looks this way, this looks this way, this looks this way, this looks this way, and this looks this way, this way, this way, and this way. So we may also draw the arrow lines that would be amply clear how the sums work, right? I'm sorry. So for explanation purposes, it is easier to do that. You don't need to do this in a Sudoku when you solve. This is only for the purpose of the video. So when you are doing this in a GP, do not do these things because that will eat some portion of your time. So we have sketched in the arrow sums inside the grid. So I think the Sudoku must hopefully be easier after this. Let us see what happens. So how do we continue here? Okay, so similar logic with the tools. So 1 cannot be in these 3 cells, sorry. 1 cannot be in these 3 cells. 1 cannot go here because it's inside the same cage, and 1 cannot be in this cell due to classic, right? So 1 is either here or here. But can a 1 go inside the 34 cage? So when you have 3 digits, and we also know that these 4 cells sum up to 26. So when you have a 1 here, these 3 cells will sum up to 25. Maximum sum of 3 digits is only 24. So which means that 1 is eliminated from here. And this cell will be my 1. So can we place all the 1s? Okay, so one more 1 I can place, classic. So we have placed all the 1s in the grid now. Okay, there is one more easy digit that I can place, classic rule again. So 6 is here, 6 is in row 1, which means 6 will be in these 2 cells, and 6 is going here due to classic. 6 must be in these 2 cells, sorry. Okay, the moment we placed a 6 here, we can immediately reduce these 2 cells, guys, because read from right to left along the arrow direction. So we need 21 from these 3 cells, and you have a 6 already, so which means that these 2 cells must be 7 and 8, because 15 cannot be 6 plus 9 now, it must be 7 plus 8. Let us come back to this cage. 26 is pretty restricted, and let us look at it this way. You have 6 cages, 6 cells which add up to 34, and we know that the set of 1 to 9 adds up to 45, right? So we need to eliminate 3 digits from this cage which add up to 11. So that 45 minus 11 would be 34. So out of which 1 cannot be inside the cage, right? So 1 is already eliminated. So we need to eliminate 2 more digits which add up to 10, right? It cannot be 1 and 9. It cannot be 2 and 8 because 2 is already in the cage. It cannot be 4 and 6 because 6 is in the cage. So 1, 3 and 7 must be the digits which are eliminated from this cage. So which means that these 4 cells must be 4, 5, 8 and 9. Brilliant guys. So much fun to solve this Sudoku. And we know that this cell is seeing all of these 4 cells. So if you have an 8 here, all these 4 cells will be standard of 8. So which means that this cell must be a 7, this must be 8, and this cannot be 8 now. And now I get a 3 here, right? So 3 is here, classic. And we also get the 2. So 2 goes here. Which means that 3 must be in these cells. 2 must be in these 2 cells, classic again. 2 must be in these 2 cells. Okay, so here we can do something small. 8 isn't not in row 2 of box 2, which means that 8 must be in either row 1 column 4 or row 3 column 4, right? So which means that 8 can be eliminated from this cell. This is not an 8. This is a 4, 5 and 9. So this column looks very interesting guys. So because we know that these digits will add up to 30, right? Because total sum is 32 and you have a 2 here. So these cells add up to 30 and 30 plus 2 is 32. So which means that for the column we need 13 more from the these 3 cells, right? This cell and this cell will sum up to 13 without the 1 and the 2. That is pretty restricted guys, because without the 1 and the 2 the minimum sum of 3 digits is 12. 3 plus 4 plus 5 and we have one more degree of freedom, which means that these cells, the yellow cells, must be 3, 4 and 6. No other way that you can reach to 13. Superb. So 6 is eliminated from here and 6 is eliminated from here. So which means that we get the 6 here. So this is a 6. So all these cells must be it's 7, 8 and 9, right? And you can verify that all these cells add up to 25 for the arrow sum. The same works for every cage. So I'm just scanning the cages to see which cage is likely to help us. Okay, in a 17 killer cage with 5 digits, we know for certain that 1, 2 and 3 must definitely be in the cage, right? Because if you don't have 1, 2 and 3 inside the cage, your sum will be more than 17. So you have 13 here and these 3 cells must sum up to 13 now, out of which 2 is already present and we need 11 more. It cannot be 2 plus 9, it cannot be 3 plus 8, it cannot be 5 plus 6. So it must be 4, 7, right? So these 3 cells must be 2, 4, 7. So 7 is eliminated here. So look at this cage guys, this is again becoming interesting, right? So you cannot have 1 inside these 3 cells, you cannot have 2 inside these 3 cells, and you also cannot have 3 inside these 3 cells. But we know for certain that these 3 cells sum up to 16. So without the 1, 2 and 3, the minimum sum is going to be 4, 5 and 6. But 6 is already in the cage. The minimum sum is here is 4, 5 and 7. And when you add them, you get 16. Superb. So these 3 cells must be 4, 5 and 7. The minimum digits adding up to 16, right? And we have a 5 here, so which means these cells cannot be 5, so 5 goes here. 4, 7 pair gives a 2 here, so these 2 cells cannot be a 2. This becomes 4, 7. And now the remaining cells in row 4 become 8 and 9. And we have an 8 here, right? So this must be a 9. This must be 8. And now I'm getting all the digits guys. So this must be 8, this must be 7, this must be a 9. So I got the entire column 9 almost. Okay, so these 2 digits I can write, they must be 3 and 4, but 4 is here. So this is a 4, this is a 3, 2, 4, 6, 7, 1, 3, 8. So remaining candidates must be 5, 9. and you have a 5 here, so this must be a 9, this must be a 5, these 3 digits must be 2, 8 and 9, and these 2 digits must be 3 and 5, and a 5 here immediately resolves this. So this would be 3, this would be 5, and we know that these digits add up to 21. So 3 plus 5 is 8, and 6 is already inside the cage, so 8 plus 6 is 14, so we need 7 more, right? So this must be 6, 7. So let us look at column 2, it's almost filled. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 and 9. So 4, 7 and 8. So 8 cannot go here, so 8 would be here. So this is a 4, 7 pair. Okay, so 5 may be eliminated from here, classic. 1, 2, 5, 8, 6 and 7. So 3, 4, 9. This would be a 3, 4, 9. And in box 1, 8 is only one cell left. So this would take the 8. So look how quickly we have got the digits. The first 10 or so minutes we did nothing except marking the units digit, but after that you will see that the Sudoku is progressing very fast. And inside this cage we will get the 8 here. 8 can't be here, so 8 goes here. So this is not an 8, so this is 4, 5 or 9. And it also not a 5, it is also not a 5. 4 and 9, so 1, 5, 8, 2, 3, 6. So 4, 7 and 9 must go here. And 4 may be eliminated from here because of the 4 here. 9 goes off from here. This is a 4, 5 and a 9. Okay, let us look over at this cage, guys, maybe, because we have written one possibility and this cage has nothing. So you have 16 from these 3 cells, right? If you have a 2 inside this cage, these 2 cells must sum up to 14, cannot be 6 plus 8, so it will be 5 and 9. And if you have an 8 here, these 2 cells must sum up to 8, cannot be 1 plus 7, cannot be 2 plus 6, cannot be 3 plus 5, so 8 cannot be here, right? This is not an 8. So if you have a 9 here, these 2 cells must sum up to 7, 9 plus 7 is 16, so these 2 cells sum up to 7, cannot be 1 plus 6, cannot be 3 plus 4, it must be 2 plus 5, so 5 is here and 2 is here, right? So in both the cases we get a 2, 9 pair and we get the 5 here, superb. So this is a 5, which means this is not a 5, sorry, this is a 4, 9 and 5 goes here. And my 8 eliminates the 8 from here, which means I get the 8 here. So for the column 1, 3, 6, 7, 2, 5, 9, these 2 digits must be 4 and 8. And this must be 4, 7 or 9 for column 5. But 4 cannot be possible and 9 is also not possible. So this is a 7, which means this is a 4, this is a 9, this is a 4, this is a 7, this is a 9, and 4 here removes the 4 from here, so this is a 9. So these 2 cells must be 3, 4 and this must be 3, 4, 7. So I could actually use the uniqueness concept in these 2 cells, but let us not disturb the actual solve path. This is not a competition. So 4 is here, so this must be a 7. And these 2 cells must be 3, 4, 5, right? You have 3, 4 here, so which means this is a 5, this is not a 5, so this is 3, 4. So I think sooner or later we have to come to this cage, guys, because we have resolved almost everything except this cage. So column 4 has 4, 5, 8, 1, 6, 7. So remaining must be 2, 3, 9. 9 is here. So this is 2, 3 and this would be 2, 3 and 9. So these 3 digits must be 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 cannot go here. So this is 6, 7. So 6, 7 pair. So I know for certain that the 5 in box 9 would have to be present in these 2 cells because it can't go anywhere else. So now these 3 cells sum up to 16, of which 5 is also a part. So 5 plus 4 plus 7, or it is 5 plus 8 plus 3. Okay, so I need to have 3 or 7 inside this cell. So 2 cannot be here, right? So 2 is eliminated from here. So this cell will be my 2. So these two cells we have deduced to be 3 or 7. This must be 3, 5, 7. Okay, 7 is not possible here, right? Which means 7 is eliminated. 5 plus 4 plus 7 or 5 plus 8 plus 3. So 7 is eliminated. So this would be 3, 5, which means that this is 4, this is 3, this is 4, this is 3, this is 4, this is 7, this is 3, 7, 4. Brilliant, guys. So this 3 gives a 3 and a 5. This 4 gives us a 4 and an 8. These two 8s give us an 8. So this 6 gives us a 7, 6. This 2 gives us a 2, 9, 9, 2, 3, 6, 7, right? This 6 gives us 6, 7. So these 3 cells must be 4, 5, 9, but we have a 5, 9 here. So this is a 4, this is a 5, and this is a 9. And with that, we have completed this really excellent practice Sudoku created by Christoph. So thank you, Christoph, very much for creating this Sudoku. It was so much fun to solve, and it illustrated the most important trick in Killer Hidden Arrows Sudoku very beautifully. So hope you guys enjoyed watching me solve the Sudoku. We hope to be back soon with the video. Take care until then. Bye bye.